We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
I'm typing everywhere.
Good evening, everybody. It's WTF. I'm V. Wright, and
I am Jose Estevez. Thanks for bearing with us, folks. A little bit of technical difficulties. That happens to even the best of us, but thanks to the best producer in the modern free world, V. Wright, we are back. And we are on the air live with you, folks, unrehearsed, unscripted, unpolitically correct, PG-13 but not PC. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show. Welcome.
Well, good evening, senor. Hey, how was your weekend?
It was good. I'm like
you sound so sure.
Well, I've got this horrible cold. At least I hope it's just a cold. I'm kind of a sickly type. But then I've got even worse news, V.
Oh, no.
I think I am allergic to Spam. Which
oh, no.
I know the first rule of Prep Club is you're not supposed to talk about Prep Club, but like Spam is a prepper's delight. And now I find out that I think I'm allergic to it. I have hives, V, from my neck all the way to my feet. And it stinks. And it hurts. And it's
my
miserable.
Goodness.
But I think it's
sorry.
Spam. Second time this year. Well, first time this year. Had it once last year, 2014, about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And I'm pretty sure it's the Spam that's doing it to me. So I don't know what I'm going to have in the zombie apocalypse. I have no idea what I'm going to eat.
You better get you some canned chicken and tuna.
Really?
Yeah. Get your tuna, get your canned meat. You can do corned beef, hash.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to have to figure out something because
so there are other options besides Spam. And actually they say that the shelf life on those are at least, contrary to the labeling on the can, it is at least 5 years.
Well, and who knows what I'm allergic to in the Spam. It might not be what is it even meat? I mean, can we call it meat? I'm not sure. But whatever
it's
it is.
some kind of meat. We'll just leave it at that.
It allows it to have a shelf life of, like half of a decade or something like that. Whatever it is. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm fine. I'm a little sickly, but so if my voice sounds a little different, that's the reason why. But boy, we are here. And we are ready to go, folks.
Yeah, all the holidays are over. We spent a lot of time spending a lot of our show time over the last 2 weeks in holiday shows, and so it's really good to be back on our familiar old ground.
Yeah, we got to talk about some politics and current events, and we are ready to roll. I'm sure of that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to start us off with one here, senor.
All right, which one you got?
We were all so happy New Year's Eve. Everybody was celebrating and everything like that. I wonder how many people realize that on New Year's Eve, the debt rolled over $100 billion.
That's all, folks. 100 billion with a B.
In a single day. The last day of the year, it was only added $100 billion.
So that brings us up to how many trillion now? Does it even matter?
I think it's like 18.4, 18.5. You got to stop and think that the total U.S. debt has increased by 70% under this administration.
And all with a purpose, and all for a reason. Now,
who recalls him saying that when the debt was at like $9 trillion, that was out of control and irresponsible?
Oh, you mean when he was a junior senator?
Oh, yeah.
From the state of Illinois?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, that was out of control. It was unacceptable. And here it is almost doubled since then.
Isn't that amazing how that all changes?
Oh, but, it's no big deal.
Well,
That's the thing is, it's not, it's nothing to concern yourself with. What are you crazy to get? I mean, what, like you're ever going to live long enough to pay it off? Why worry about it?
I mean, well, seriously, though, his wife has a green thumb. Remember? She's always planning stuff by the White House. So they probably have a money tree. And then let's not forget QE. What are we up to now? XV3? I mean, what's the Super Bowl that's coming up? I mean, have we gotten to quantitative easing 18 yet? I mean, come on. That just means, folks, they're printing and printing and printing, which in effect is devaluing the money. And yeah, I'm not an economist, but I know it's not good.
Well, y'all know that if they had a money tree, we wouldn't know anything about it.
They'd all be going to some offshore accounts, spreading.
I wonder how many billions of those dollars are attributed to vacation time.
Well, I mean, golfing all year is a hard job, and then you have to go take a break from golfing to go golfing.
Well, Tiger Woods said it was expensive.
Well, he's golfed more than Tiger Woods, I believe. That was several months ago. I think we reported on that he had golfed more than Tiger Woods had.
Mm-hmm. Unreal. Well, nothing like being the president of the putter.
The President Putts? I mean, putt.
Yeah. But folks, it only cost each and every single American in the United States another $3 per day.
Oh, that's well. For that price, you can feed some starving kid in the United States. Oh wait.
Now, of course, that's just interest. That's not principal.
That's just it. Well, of course. Yes, you can feed a starving child in the United States of America for $3 a day, folks. Come on, pitch in. It's not that much money. You can do it.
Yeah. Of course, if we start feeding invaders and things like that, of course, it skyrockets to what, $12,000 a day.
You're just totally going to make sure that my blood pressure is going to go up by the end of this show, aren't you? You're going to ensure that. That.
I just know how much you adore it when I bring things like that up.
Wow. Yeah. Let's see here. I got a story we got to start out with. I know you got that 100 billion in one day thing. That's just chump change, though. Really, I mean, amongst friends, that's nothing. But here's the one that I want us to talk about first of all. Navy veteran, 100-year-old Navy veteran, folks, centenarian. I believe that's how you say that when they're 100. Cheered for standing up to protesters at a medal ceremony. Folks, this is in Oregon, and this is the shame of our country, in addition to abortion and other things. But listen to this. 100-year-old U.S. Navy veteran drew cheers from a crowd in Oregon on Saturday, just this past weekend, after telling protesters who were shouting, "Hands up, don't shoot," the Black Lives Matters crowd, to stop interrupting his medal ceremony and, quote, show a little respect. He's 100 years old, folks, and now listen to this. Okay, 15 minutes of chanting against the deaths of unarmed men by white police officers, then they finally settled down. Folks, this man joined the Navy at age 27 and participated in 5 campaigns in the Pacific Theater, flying observational planes based off the USS Chester. He was awarded on Saturday a frame filled with medals, including the U.S. Navy Naval Aviator Badge, the American Campaign Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the American Defense Service Medal, and the Ruptured Duck Award and the U.S. Navy Honorable Discharge Pin. And then all these people during this ceremony for this guy who basically fought so they could have the right to be total jerk-offs and be total animals about it, they sit up there chanting about something that had nothing to do with that. Hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter, which we've already debunked as being the biggest bunch of bull Obama I've ever heard in my life. These animals go in there and do this. So then he stands up and asks them to at least, give him a chance. Show a little, he said, give me a chance and let's show a little respect for the occasion, drawing cheers from the audience that weren't part of the people that were disruptive. And, I mean, come on, the guy, 100 years old. And the irony, of course, is probably lost on those people that this guy fought all over the Pacific just so they could have that right to do what they did and make total jackasses out of themselves.
They have no clue. You know, what you find the majority of the time is as much as they scream and yell about others, they can't see outside their own little box. You know, you go 2 foot beyond their personal existence and nothing matters.
Isn't that the truth? These people are so self-absorbed. And the whole thing is, folks, and we've covered it here ad nauseum, the whole hands up, don't shoot is bull, Obama. It never happened that way. But they continue to use it over and over, rote memory, so that it gets into their minds, and it is indeed the only facts that there are, even though it's not factual. And these people do this to this guy that's 100 years old, been through hell and back in the Pacific, I'm sure. He's 100 years old. He gets all these awards. First of all, how many people last to 100 years old, much less are able to go to a big celebration to get all these medals? And then these people have to do this at that. There's a time and place for everything, folks. And this was neither the time nor the place to do it. What the heck? This just makes me sick to my stomach. I wish I would have been there. Tell you what, they didn't think they could breathe. Maybe after we got done with them, they wouldn't be able to. Take that crap outside. I mean, really? Wow.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
People
no
in this country
doubt.
make me sick when they do. And like I said, they've got every right to say whatever they want, and no matter how stupid and how uninformed and how false it is. But my goodness. Wow. Anyway,
Well,
so
you know, I mean, that makes me think of today. You know, where they where there was a report from this weekend where the groups were in Oakland and in New York City were walking down past places where folks were assembling and eating. You know, at cafe type establishments, and they start harassing them. And, calling them out for their white privilege and all this other crap. Let me tell you black folks out there something, and I'm just going to be perfectly blunt and honest. There are 4 more broke-ass white folks than there will ever be black folks. When you look at the numbers, it's just the way it is. So tired of hearing white privilege crap.
Well, you know, facts to these liberals, these commies, these progressives, whatever you want to refer to them as, these scumbags, are kind of like holy water to a demon. So, yeah, I'm sure it won't. I mean, this just angers me. I mean, we've got so few veterans left from World War II. This guy's 100 years old, and they do this crap to him and totally ruin it for him. I mean, despicable is not even the right words for it.
You're absolutely correct, but if you want to go along the same lines right now, hashtag F asterisk, God, I'm gonna have to say that, but you guys know the rest of the word, whites. There was a tweet by Bubba Conroy from McDonald's.
Oh, I saw that.
I spit in all white people's food today.
I mean, who does that, first of all? Second of all, who brags about it on social media that goes out to the world? Seriously.
And third of all, Bubba, I hope none of them white folks know you or the McDonald's that you work at, because somebody's going to be really mad.
You think?
Because
smokes.
I mean, I don't eat at fast food most of the time because of crap like that. No, that's all right. If I ever caught somebody doing something like that, folks, y'all would never hear from me again. You would never hear from me again.
The problem is, if it was at a restaurant and there were other people, they'd probably join right in and help you, and no jury would convict. So.
Oh,
seriously.
Folks, let me tell you, I am the nicest person in the world. I really am. I have a heart as big as the sky. I really have so much compassion, it's not even funny, but I have a temper that stomps all over all the rest of it.
Yeah, okay, moving right along.
I would hurt somebody and not even give it a second thought.
No doubt, yeah. Well, I mean, and like I said, things like that are totally understandable. But yeah, the spitting in food and the social media, I think it's going to be the destruction of the nation, at least part of it. It's certainly going to help. I mean, I don't understand why people see the need to put every single thing, every aspect of their lives out on social media. But yet they won't talk to their next door neighbor, or if somebody they meet walking down the street, make contact with them, because they're always looking at their phones. I don't know. I'm old fashioned, I guess.
No, I mean, no, it's true. I mean, that's just like, the kids today. 10, 12 years old, they start asking for iPods and cell phones and tablets, and go outside and play and grab a board of Monopoly.
Go play. Go ride a bike. Go climb a tree.
Here's a deck of cards.
Here's one. Go play Cops and Robbers, or can you
Cowboys and Indians?
Oh, can we say Indians, or do we have to say
yes, we can, and it's dots. It's feathers, not dots.
Feathers, not dot. Exactly. We don't want to offend everybody tonight, so just got to point that out, that it's feather, not dot.
I'm in this kind of mood. It doesn't matter to me if I'm offending anyone.
But make sure you guys aren't doing Cowboys and Muslims. That'll come soon enough.
We'll reserve the right to play that at a later time.
Yes, we'll play that for when the time is coming. Okay, yeah.
Speaking of Cowboys and Muslims,
yes,
Senor. They are here.
Oh,
there
you think?
There's no doubt.
I was going to say, is there any doubt?
Seeing on a regular basis how they are infiltrating our society. Now the first thing I'm gonna I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Okay. Our dear and lovable Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Irreverent. Don't ever call him Reverend. He's as far from that.
This week urged Arab Americans to fight for their rights because minorities are the new America. He was at a meeting at the Arab American Civil Rights League, and he was referring to supposed racism aimed at Arabs, including being targeted at airports. He said these civil rights violations are madness of racism. I don't know. I'm just thinking that, if you want to stop somebody with a bomb, might be the folks that are more inclined to bomb folks. I don't know. It's just, I'm just guessing.
Common sense, maybe,
No, we don't have that in the United States of America anymore.
No.
Anyway, he says Arabs have described they are drawn to Jackson because of his uber-liberal stance on social issues and religion. No, they're not, you dummy. They're drawn to you because you're trying to tell the rest of America to submit, which is what Islam is all about.
Right. That's what it means. Mission.
Exactly. So anyway, Jackson urged you must not retreat from racist Americans who hold you down. You are God's people. We are the new America.
What is...
In my best, Jesse Jackson.
What is... well, that's a deep subject. We could be here all night.
These folks are retarded.
There's that word.
They are seriously mentally incapable.
Incompetent. Right. You're and on that point you are totally correct. Well, no, I don't think they are, though. I think this is all part of a bigger scheme that they have, and I think they're very bright, and I think they're doing right exactly what they want. And they know what to do.
I think the Reverend Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al have been singing this song for the last 40 plus years, and it's the only song they know, and they've got to find an audience for it.
Well, yeah. Well, they definitely have nothing else to use except for that race card, and boy, you'd think that thing would be overdrawn by now, but holy smokes. I don't know. But yeah, people are still buying it. They're still not having to go punch a time clock and work a regular job like 40% of the rest of the population. So they've got something figured out, that's for sure.
Well, I've given it a lot of thought, and some people are like a broken record, and they just need somebody new to play it to be a new hit, and I feel like that's what these folks do. Let's see, Jesse's not as popular with black folks today as he was 10 years ago, so what's he done? He's found a new audience.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because like every parasite, they have to continue finding a living host to live off of, otherwise they don't, they cease to exist themselves. And I think that's probably a pretty good analogy, and that's pretty much what he is at this point. Hey, folks, we got to take our first break. Wow. We'd love to have you call us and tell us what you're thinking. Who is going to be the first caller of 2015? I guess we'll know when you make that phone call, 313-462-0068. That number has not changed and will not. 313-462-0068. Bear with us, and we will be back in a few minutes.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
The design of the Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
Come on, Harry! Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13, now playing.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
The American dream has become a nightmare. Signs of the time are on cardboard on corners in town. Like a cancer that's silently spreading, there's an unspoken fear. We're on our way down. We must take
Welcome back, everybody. It's WTF, and I'm V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. Welcome back, folks. Hey, folks, V and I want to be among the first to welcome the 114th Congress of the United States, the largest GOP majority in nearly a decade. A decade is 100 years for those of you raised on Common Core. Now, let's see if they screw it up or if they retard the fundamental transformation that's been occurring for the last 6 years.
Oh, well, we can pretty much guarantee where this one's going to go, right?
I'm a bit pessimistic about the whole thing, but let's talk about it for sure.
Oh, any chance? Bonehead seems to think there's absolutely no chance whatsoever that he is going to be outvoted. Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? Over the next 2 days for the vote.
Right.
However, we've had 2 representatives throw their hats in the ring. I was very disappointed in Trey Gowdy.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked to take it, and he declined. He was asked to go for it, and he declined. And some people would like to tout the fact that, oh, well, he just feels better doing things behind the scenes, and he has other desires just to stay in the house and do his work without being on the floor. Dude, if you're not ready to put your butt on the line for this country at this point, you're never going to.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and then who has put his name in the hat, and that's Louis Gohmert out of Texas, Republican out of Texas. He said he's willing to challenge John Boehner as Speaker of the new Congress. I think he would be a good person to have. But he's put his name in there, and I guess he's getting some support. But I'm going to be honest with you, V. Call me pessimistic, call me what you will. I just don't think Boehner's going to get unseated. I'm going to be quite honest with you.
I don't think so either. The last elections that they had, 12 GOP members voted against him. And 2 of those 12. Now, how many in total are returning? I have no idea. But 2 of those have already said they will stick their vote with the bonehead this time around, which is truly unfortunate. However, I understand some freshmen coming in are not so staunch for their support for the bonehead.
Right, and hopefully that's what we're getting is some of those conservative people that are coming in and don't owe him anything. Now, let's remember what he's done, folks. He's taken the representative from Michigan, who, big fan among many people, let's see, what's his name, V? Help me out here. He's Amash, Justin Amash. He lost his, I don't think he was a chairman, but he was definitely on one of the boards or whatever they call that. And they kicked him off of it and stuff for going against Boehner. So I'm not going to call him Boehner, Bonehead, whatever you want to call him. So these guys are not playing nice. And here's another thing that's really ought to concern all of us. And I don't know, folks, if you've heard this, but McCon Man, who's over there in the Senate now, who will be the Senate leader, McConnell, or just call him by his more accurate name, McCon Man, pledges to avoid scary excesses and strident stands of the far right, which means he is directly attacking Tea Party favorite Ted Cruz from Texas.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't hear him say that the Tea Party are the actual terrorists in this country?
We are the terrorists to Boner and McCon Man. We certainly are. I mean, and we're in their own party, and yet they're going to destroy. They're going to destroy everything they can about it. And this is what he said. New Senate Majority Leader's main goal for the GOP. This is his goal, folks. The person that's in charge of the Senate, replacing good old whorehouse Harry Reid from Nevada. Don't be scary. Because he thinks that this is what he said. This is a quote. Don't be scary.
Guys, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. They can say don't be scary all they want to. At this point, what I am seeing is a vast majority of our Republican, I'm not going to call them conservatives.
Oh, definitely not. Don't you dare.
Are actually demon crap in sheep clothing. This is, I mean, guys, we had this situation once before, and because of people like John McCain and Boner, whatever, spell it like it sounds out,
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, then deal with the fact that the rest of the world calls you Boner.
That's probably one of the nicer things we can, or that's probably one of the only things we can say on the radio that will meet censorship requirements that we have.
But these are the type individuals that forced over 4 million people to stay home, and these are the type individuals. And this past weekend, what's his name from Fox? The governor of what state was he governor of?
Oh, Huckabee?
Yes, announced that he was leaving his show on Fox because he may or may not run. What are these people doing? In my opinion, they are all setting Jeb up for a run. Guys, I am praying to God that does not happen.
I mean,
please put the word out to not vote in the primary for Jeb Bush.
Right. Huckabee seems like a nice enough guy, but probably no spine, conservative, not an iota in his body. But I think he is a very nice guy. But folks, we don't need a very nice guy right now. Remember 2 years ago when we had a very nice guy running, and he indeed was.
And they stomped all over him.
At least 4 million people sat out the election because of him. And I don't believe it was because of his religion. I know there are some people that said that, but I honestly do not believe that. I think it because he was just too milquetoast. And they said, we're not going to vote for him. He doesn't stand for anything, and he really doesn't. I mean, once again, Rhino, Republican in name only.
He was a good businessman.
Good businessman.
That was the only thing.
And a very nice person as well.
Exactly.
But guess what? People are fed up. They're seeing issues in their paychecks. I mean, wait till you get your first paycheck in the new year, folks, with the Obamacare really kicking in this year. And wait till you do your taxes. H&R Block, folks, has got an advertisement on TV, if you have not seen it yet, with a gentleman sitting there, and they said on, was it January 8th? I think January 8th, you can come into their stores, and they will give you a free rundown about how it's going to impact you. Folks, people are going to be extremely upset when they go do their taxes this year, especially the ones that want a quick return and expect their, $8,000 to $10,000 returns. I firmly believe they are going to be very angry. And guess what? Too late. So sad, we told you. But I'm telling you what, even H&R Block knows it. This is going to be major this year. Last year was just the beginning. Now it's official this year, and people are going to be hurting when they find out just how much that free health care is not free.
Oh, if you think it's going to be bad this year, wait. Just wait.
It's incremental every year, more and more.
Well, exactly. It was designed that the benefits would come first, and then the bite would come later.
Mm-hmm.
They, the uninsured in 2014 have a penalty of $95, which we have already said went up already.
Right.
that was the initial. And these fees were indeed structured to increase over time. For 2015, an individual would be facing a fine of $325. That's current, or 2% of their income. Now, the final kick in the head will come next year, as King Jello's heading out the door, when it will be a little over $1,100.
Oh, that's starting to get substantial.
Yeah, think?
Yeah, I do think.
But it's been good for big business. Getting out of the healthcare market gets that monkey off their back.
Well, and as most of us know, it's leading right towards the single payer. I don't have my hands on it, but we'll get it in the next couple of days. There was an article by a doctor talking about how bad single payer would be, and people just don't understand it. Once again, it has to be free because, of course, that's what they're told. All these other countries have free health care. Oh, sure, they have free health care. Ask them what the quality of service is. Ask them what the time on the services are. Ask them if there's limits on your age versus what you need to have done. Oh, folks, there are so many things that would make people run for the hills if they actually knew what it was. But because our opponents are very slick and good at lying, in other words, that we can understand, they're able to pass this off and make people actually want something like that.
Well,
it's good old-fashioned communism is what it is.
Well, what we've got to look at is while the folks like the unions are getting waivers, you got to think so are businesses nationwide. Businesses that did used to provide employee health care coverage are no longer required to do that if they just cut back the hours slightly. This is really propping up and subsidizing a lot of big business. And where does that go? It doesn't go. It goes from employer to employee. That's where it went. Those big businesses are still making the profits that everybody complains about.
They have to, otherwise they cease to exist as a business. That's the whole nature of this thing, folks.
But their profit margin just grew because all of you people out there, and I'm not talking about our listening base, I'm talking about the morons out there that complain about making $7 an hour and complain, about their employers not providing them health care. Guess what, folks? Y'all supported this crap. And guess what? Your employers aren't going to provide you health care, and the government just said you had to pay it, and if you don't pay it, they're going to take it out of that nice little hefty tax return you get every year. Right. And let's think about what this is really doing. While all of this is occurring, who is getting impacted the most? Is it the wealthy? The wealthy is not getting impacted the most. They can afford to pay these fines. They can afford to pay for premium. Most of them are self-insured. They just take $1 million, put it in a bond. There it is. I've got $1 million worth of insurance. End of story. In the meantime, it's collecting interest.
Right.
So it's not affecting them. It's not affecting the poor because the poor are going to continue to get the Medicaid that they had all along. So who is it affecting? It's affecting the middle class. And what is the purpose in all this? The whole purpose is for the younger folks, our children, to pay for our health care.
That's pretty much right.
So, when you stop and think about it, when you look at it at the big picture of it, at the end of the day, you come away with, gosh, seems to me, all those wealthy folks everybody complains about, all those liberals complain about, just got a subsidy from the government for health care.
Well, I liken it to the Social Security system, and one way I've heard it described, and I'm not going to go into detail because I've already admitted, folks, all the things that I'm not an economist. It's kind of like a bathtub, though. As the water goes in, if you don't have a drain, then, of course, and the water keeps going, it's going to overflow. the way I understand it now is that the water is going out faster. The drain is bigger than the water is coming in. So at some point, that tub is going to empty, even though the water continues to come in. That level is going to keep going down and down more and more until you're just basically filling it and it's going right out. And that's a heck of a way to think about it, folks. For those of us that haven't retired yet, maybe have another 10, 15, 20 years to go. And that's and who's going to pay for it, folks?
10, 15 years? You're being optimistic, right? Because you're not considering all the illegals coming in, correct?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Who is going to refill that bathtub? Who is going to have that flow?
All of the illegals. Didn't you hear? They're here because they have such a great tenacity to be part of the American dream and enter the workforce.
But V, if you're not paying taxes in, then that's not helping at all. In fact, they're having an added drain onto. Let's use the bathtub analogy. It's an added drain. That drain is even bigger because a lot of them and a lot of people indeed that I'm aware of are taking out of Social Security that don't even. Because of Social Security disability, SSDI, I believe it's called. Even their kids are eligible for it. So these are kids that at some point should be paying in and stuff. But even in their teens and early 20s, they're drawing out of it. How long can that go on, folks? That's just common sense. And like I said, I'm no economist, but holy smokes. In my world, 1 + 1 still equals 2, and 1 - 1 is 0. I know Common Core, that's probably not correct, and it's scary.
I'm going to tell you, anyone at this point who is not trying to find an alternative means of taking care of themselves, if there is anyone out there who is not downsizing and trying to live frugally because tomorrow it's going to be worse financially, they're crazy. I'm just going to say it like that. And I don't care who the next president is. I don't know what. Even if we were to turn this whole thing around, we have over $18 trillion in debt, and we have over 60% of the population contributing nothing.
There you go. And that number is likely to go up with even fewer people pulling the cart and more people riding on the cart, using that analogy of the people pulling the cart are the people that are paying the taxes and actually doing the right thing and not taking out of the system. We've talked about so many people say they pay taxes, but by the time they do their taxes at the end of the year with all the credits and stuff like that, they're either they're not paying anything or they're actually taking more back than what they've put in. And, and we hear about it all the time, the $8,000 to $10,000 refunds that people get, and that they didn't pay in. It's one thing, right? It's one thing.
They were getting government dollars to begin with.
And like I said, I wish I could explain it better.
The crazy thing about that is, I'm going to spend here it is. I'm going to go down. It's the 1st of January, and I am going to apply for housing. I'm going to apply for food stamps. I'm going to apply for Medicaid. Mm-hmm. I'm going to apply for aid for children, because in this hypothetical situation, I have 2 children. Okay?
Right.
So I'm going to get aid for them, so I get a stipend for them. I'm going to get subsidized electric. I'm going to get my Obama phone. I'm going to get subsidized water, and I'm going to get subsidized cable TV and internet. Okay? Now, let's take into account I've got a boyfriend, the father, my baby daddy's, is living here. And even if he has a job and isn't dealing drugs, he's still got an income.
Right.
And he's driving a $20,000, $30,000 hoopty, and we ride in style. And I got nice furnishings, and I go get my nails done all the time, my pedicures and my weave.
Of course.
I'm golden, right? My children are dressed nice. They don't go anywhere. They got, their Air Jordans on, and they got it rolling. Sean John pants. It's all good. So now it's January. Everything's copacetic. I get all my benefits.
Right.
In March, I get knocked up again.
Uh-oh.
And I'm smart enough to know that Planned Parenthood is not going to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
So now I get to go apply for WIC, which is Women and Children, something like that. So I get to go apply for WIC. So now I get an extra, $100 a month in food coupons or food stamp subsidy, whatever.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now come December, I've done had this youngin'. I get an automatic $3,500 tax credit. I have not paid in a dime. I've lived off the government all year long. Don't matter that baby daddies are all out there working and living here in the house and helping take care of things and all of that, because I don't have to tell them folks at the welfare office that, because I'm not married to this man. So I don't even have to lie to them and tell them that we're separated. So January 1st rolls around next year. I have contributed not a penny to the system. But I am going to take my $3,500 birth child credit and $1,500 a piece. I'm going to take head of household and any other credits I can get. Now, already I'm at $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I'm low income.
Oh, of course.
I get it all. I've put nothing in. I get every dime back. Now, here's the kicker, folks. I don't have to claim it on my welfare. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to buy me a new car. I'm going to get me some new furniture. We're going to do some shopping. I'm going to hide it in the mattress as long as I don't put it in the bank. Don't nobody know I got that money come the first of the month.
Oh, my word.
That's how it works, folks. And it happens like that about 7 to 12 million times every year.
You sure about those numbers? That sounds like it's on the low end, but you may be correct. I don't know. Wow.
That is how it works. So we just laid it out for you. I just wanted to lay it out for everybody in the most simplistic manner as possible, so that you would understand exactly how it works. That is how it works. They got everything paid for them all year long. Oh, let's not forget them Toys for Tots for my baby daddies, so they didn't have to spend their money. I got it for my young'uns.
Right. But
and sometimes last year, that was a PlayStation.
Well, heaven forbid they'd go down and get some free condoms, which I know are available in health clinics and such.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, a lot of these folks on welfare do not go to Planned Parenthood. They do not, you kind of look at it and you're kind of like, well, what the hell here? Because they don't go to Planned Parenthood and take care of this problem. They don't take care of the problem by taking any kind of birth control. God forbid that they would have their tubes tied. That's sacrilege.
Mm-hmm.
Because these children are future dollars.
I agree.
And that is why you've got them out there running the streets at 2 years old, hanging out in the street. And that's why at 10 years old, they're running the streets like hoodlums. Because don't nobody want to be a parent.
Life is cheap.
They don't want to get off that couch and actually snatch that child up and teach them right from wrong. How many times have we heard mothers on welfare say that they are perfectly fine with their children learning the system? And folks, this is why we are carrying better than 60% of the population. And until we turn that faucet off, we're all screwed.
Amen. And I guess it's a good time to take our break at the top of the hour. We still don't have our first caller for the year, but I know they're out there, and they're going to call in and sound off on whatever they want to tonight. Folks, we will be back shortly. Don't forget our number is always 313-462-068. You can join us on Twitter at the WTF Radio. That's there if you like to tweet things out. I think that's the modern version of the CB radio. But anyway, it is what it is. Lots of people like to use that. At the WTF Radio. And once again, when we come back, call us 313-462-0068. Let us know what you're thinking. It is 2015. It is hopefully is going to be our first full year on the radio. We started a little bit late last year, back in October, and we hope to be with you for a long time to come. Bear with us. We'll be right back.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
The most amazing thing about the Ford Fusion isn't the way it looks. The most amazing thing is the way it sees. With blind spot technology, a lane keeping system, and a standard rear view camera, the Fusion is ready for whatever comes your way. Go prepared. Go further.
Come on, Harry!
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13, now playing.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's WTF, and I'm V. Wright.
And I'm Jose Estevez. Welcome back to our second hour, folks. Once again, if you want to call us, 313-462-0068. Breaking news, folks, here on the show. The House Republicans have pledged to continue making the American people's priorities, jobs in the economy, our priorities, and they have 3 bills that they are proposing. 3 bipartisan jobs bills they're referring to them as. One is Hire More Heroes Act. The president's health care law is prompting many small businesses to hold off on hiring and even shed jobs. The Help More Heroes Act, the Hire More Heroes Act, will help by exempting veterans who are already enrolled in health care plans through the Department of Defense or the VA from being counted towards the employee limit under the health care. There we go. So that should help the veterans if that one can make it through. The second one is called the Save American Workers Act. Thousands of workers have seen their hours and wages slashed thanks to Obamacare's employer mandate that forces businesses to hold hours down to 30 per week or face a penalty. Heck, we were just talking about that in the first hour. Women and low-income workers are particularly hard hit by that mandate, according to an analysis by the Hoover Institution, which found that 30-hour rule puts 2.6 million Americans earning less than $30,000 a year, 63% of whom are women, at risk of having their hours and their wages cut. So the Save American Workers Act restores the traditional 40-hour work week to protect these workers and help our economy grow. And then the third one is approving the Keystone Pipeline. So they say they're going to work on that and get that taken care of. Now, of course, he's pledged to veto pretty much everything using his fancy little pen that we'd all like to jam somewhere. But we'll see what happens. The one thing I'm kind of disappointed is they've got the Save American Workers Act to up hours to 40, but they're not saying anything about just simply defunding Obamacare and cutting and slashing the heck out of that monstrosity, which would take care of the problem there. So,
well, and
they want to just add another law in.
So where how does this benefit these female workers? They're going into a situation where they're once they get to the 40-hour mark, they will be required to purchase their company insurance, which will be so astronomical, which we all know that it will eat up whatever difference that 10 hours of pay would make plus some. Right. So, I mean, what they're doing is kicking the can. They are attempting to appease, and this is unacceptable. And let's not forget, folks, that in a recent Gallup poll, and I was going to talk about this later, but since we're here now, jobs are not the issue.
Right.
You want to know what the biggest issue in America today is? To the American populace at large? The biggest issue is an out-of-control government.
Well,
that's a Gallup poll.
That's definitely a good one. And that's definitely the truth. The
absolute biggest issue is an out-of-control government. And that's the first time in history that has been the number one issue on the table. The first time in history.
So maybe more people are waking up than we thought, which would be nice.
Well, as the Gallup author wrote, of the top 5 issues the most concerned Americans in 2014, the economy and unemployment are significantly less dominant than they were even 2 years ago. At the same time, concerns about government and immigration have been mounting, while concerns about health care have consistently simmered at a moderately high level since 2009. And just to give you an idea of how important things are, this is how it played out. The number one issue was too big a government.
Mm-hmm.
The second issue was, I'm trying to read it, the economy in general.
Okay.
Unemployment was third. Healthcare was fourth. Immigration, followed by the federal deficit and debt. Ethics and moral decline was the next.
Ethics.
Education fell below that. Poverty and homelessness fell even further down the line. Overseas foreign aid focus was the next. Gap between the rich and poor. Follow that. Race relations fell even further down the line. Lack of money. Then crime. Judicial system. Lack of respect for each other. Now, y'all sit here and think about some of these that are coming up. The next 4 are war, terrorism, wage issues, and national security is at the bottom. But the number one issue is an out-of-control government. And already they're acknowledging they're not going to deal with it. They're not going to deal with it. They're not going to deal with that. They're not going to deal with immigration. They're not going to deal with Obamacare. They're not going to... This is what they're going to deal with. And nothing that they have said is going to help anyone, with the exception possibly of the Keystone Pipeline. Possibly, I say. Because the minute that goes into effect and we start making money or getting any oil off of it, they're going to start exporting it. And when they start exporting it, our gas prices skyrocket.
I believe that is correct.
I'm sorry, I got on a rant.
No, that's okay. Well, I kind of wanted to follow. I mean, and it's great stuff, and you're exactly correct. But I kind of wanted to follow along with what you were talking about at the end of last hour. And those folks that were listening in, we were talking about taxes and the out-of-control welfare system and how this is all working and how people can scam the system. Kind of wanted to follow up on that with this report. I think it's kind of pertinent because we were talking about, people having babies to scam the welfare system and not really caring about the children themselves. We see this in the black community. We see this in other communities. But certainly it is definitely a problem in America. But here's a bigger problem. Planned Parenthood report. 327,653 babies were aborted by Planned Parenthood in 2013. Folks, that is 37 abortions an hour, or one almost every 90 seconds. I want you to think about that for a second. 327,653 babies were aborted in 2013. In 2013.
It's okay. They can all praise Allah. Everybody that works at Planned Parenthood can praise Allah and say that they were doing His bidding by beheading the Christian babies. This is sickening. And let's not forget, folks, since 1973, nearly 60 million children have been aborted in the United States of America. Supposedly the greatest country in the history of the world, and I firmly believe it is, but I'll tell you what, this is a huge stain on the United States of America. 37 abortions every hour in 2013. I want to say this, okay, and whether someone agrees with me or disagrees with me is really a moot point for me.
Right.
There is absolutely no reason for there to be a Planned Parenthood anymore. Since the coming out and the FDA approval of the morning after pill, which I don't agree with. I'm just going to say this. I don't agree with it. I believe in a natural way of things. But there is absolutely no reason for anyone to undergo an abortion when there is a morning after pill. You had sex the night before, you're concerned, take a pill. It's done. It is truly that easy. To have the situation. I mean, these women, I don't even think they realize what they're doing to their bodies. And I grew up in a time where abortion fixed a lot of problems, and I grew up in a middle class neighborhood where little white girls didn't have babies at 15, 16, 17 years old. And that was a solution. It did not alter their physical behaviors in the least, and so it was a solution to many of them more than once. And those same little 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old white girls, I pass them on the street today, and they have no children.
Mm-hmm.
They have none. Because they could not have any more because their bodies had been damaged so.
Okay, yeah.
The interesting thing with Planned Parenthood is federal law does require now that they offer an ultrasound. And they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not included in the price of things. It is an additional fee for which is not subsidized that you do have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So it is offered. It is not mandated because of cost. So what could be a limiter, because when someone actually saw a child in their stomach, most people don't have it in them to kill their own children. They really don't. Maybe somebody else's, but not their own.
Well, good point.
So, I mean, but that's and Planned Parenthood knows that. They know if they do that, if they actually see it, that's it. It's a done deal, pretty much. So what they have opted to do is we'll give you the abortion at no charge, but if you want an ultrasound, you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, why would I do that?
We're right.
And the other thing that I take personally, and I am not reflecting this on anyone out there. My sister has had a double mastectomy. She is a breast cancer survivor. But I do not give 1 penny or 1 ounce of support to the Susan Komen Society.
Right.
Because they give to Planned Parenthood,
mm-hmm.
and they do it under a liberal lie of Planned Parenthood promotes breast cancer awareness. They do not. Carrying a brochure is a far cry from providing a mammogram.
Yeah, that's true.
The only thing Planned Parenthood does is kill babies and give pregnancy tests so that they can hope that they can kill babies.
That sounds like pretty much what they're in. Yeah. Well, what they were intended for is Margaret Sanger. This was this whole thing of eugenics, folks, getting rid of all the people in a race. I mean, this has some evil, evil things going way back, I think, to the late 1800s, early 1900s for sure. This has some evil, evil beginnings. And
she
it is
stood before Congress and said there is a disproportionate amount of people in this country who do not have the mental capacity to live in a civilized society. If you allow this to go forward, they will kill themselves off. That's how stupid they are.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's do something else here. I pulled another story along with this Planned Parenthood.
Wait just a minute. We have a caller.
Okay.
Caller, you got 2 minutes. What you got for us? Who are you and where you calling from?
Hi, this is Ben calling from Massachusetts. How you doing, Veronica?
Doing fine, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, thank God. I'm going to advocate for abortion for a second here.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Are we talking about post-term abortion? Postnatal?
No, but it would be late term, okay? And here's an example. This is somebody I know, okay? Somebody I know, the fetus, the digestive organs are outside of the body, okay?
Which can be corrected through surgery.
Sure, with a 30% chance of survival.
That's correct, but it can be corrected through surgery.
Sure, and it could kill the baby, and it could,
Well, let's see. It could kill the baby, or we go the route that says an assured death.
Yes, that's also true. And even if they do fix it, this is not going to be a very healthy baby.
Ben, I love you. You know I love you. You and I have been friends for a long time. I am really fixing to go personal on you here, okay? I have a 27-year-old disabled child. I've been doing it for 27 years. It is the hardest job in the world that has ever existed. It is also, at times, and those times are few, the most rewarding that there ever is. Out of anything I have ever done in my life, no, I cannot. I cannot advocate it. Absolutely not. You've got an opportunity for a child that may be sick to grow up and be healthy, because we know that's occurred, or we got assured death. And I can tell you another scenario. I was woken at the one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning by one of my sisters who had gone and had an ultrasound, and this was back in the early 80s, and they weren't the most precise. They had gone and gotten an ultrasound. She was pregnant, and they told her her child did not have a brain. They recommended that the child be removed. She agreed because they were told her that the child would not survive, that it was an inevitability to begin with. So they took the child. 3 days later, at 6 o'clock in the morning, my sister wakes me up screaming at my bedroom door with another baby in her hand. Another baby. It was about 4 inches long. And what did the doctor say? Oh, well, you must have been carrying twins, and one was shadowing the head of the other one.
Oh,
so doctors make mistakes. So I don't buy it. I'm sorry. This is an argument you're not going to win with me. Jose, I'm going to let you have this one. I'm going to step away from it.
Well, I mean, I got to agree with V. I mean, it's. I don't think we have the right to decide whether that baby's going, that the baby's going to die, that we're going to kill that baby. I think, and like I said, I'm not that knowledgeable about it. I'm going to admit, V makes a very good point. I mean, I guess I would maybe be for it in certain cases when the mother's life is in danger. If and especially if both lives are going to be in danger for having that baby. But I mean, I look to somebody that, boy, controversial. This is going to be controversial. Sarah Palin. I'm assuming that she knew that her kid was going to be born the way he is. I can't think of the term right off the top of my head. And yet she went through and had that baby, and she knew that he was going to be a lot of work for her whole entire life, but she went ahead and had that baby. Right. And I'm sure she had the chance, obviously, when she found out. I'm assuming before it was born, they were able to find that out. And, she knew, or at least there was a likelihood that would happen. And moms do that all the time. I know other mothers that have done that too, and had the children realizing, they're going to have this burden for their whole life, and the kids indeed too. But they've made that choice. It's got to be tough, but I would say we don't have a right to take that life.
Okay, so just in summation, I'm talking about people that I know. This is not abstract.
Right.
Right. Understand.
They decided to carry the baby to term, and it's going to be an emergency C-section followed by surgery.
Very good.
But I do believe that I do feel that it should be a time when the woman can choose.
I disagree, because at what point we live in a society where if you open the door for a crack, somebody slams it open. And at what is the next step? Oh, I'm not having a son, so I'm going to kill it. Oh, yeah, it's. I mean, look at the situations now where we have women who are actually in labor, giving birth, and they stab scissors into the spine of that child as its head exits and takes its first breath. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. At best, the best thing that I can advocate is if you have unprotected sex and you do not want to have the burden of being a parent because of whatever reason about your character that you can't handle it, then take the morning after pill. That is the best that I can advocate with that situation.
Okay,
but I appreciate you calling in.
Oh, definitely. Wow, that was a heck of a call for our first call. Ben, you're the first caller of the year. And boy, we won't soon forget that one. But,
and I love Ben. I've known Ben for a long time.
We're just, it's a very touchy topic.
It is one that I just, it's not one that I can take lightly, because I have been in personal situations where that's fallen on both sides. I mean, like I said, I've had my sister come in. She did what the doctors recommended. She was carrying twins, and that was before the sonogram was so intense that you could see the features. And my sister had a baby in her hand, about 4 inches long. He had spine and arms and legs and his head and his eyes were starting to move into place. You could see his nose and his mouth. He was 4 inches long, and it was male. On the other flip side of that coin, I know how hard it is to take care of a child with disabilities. I do it every day. My life has not ceased to exist because I have a child with disabilities. But she also has never gone without. And I would kill myself working to make sure that never occurred. And as long as I can, I will continue to care for her in the home. And
there
that's just the way it is. Because God saw enough in me to say I was the best person to do it. Out of all the billions of people on earth, He gave her to me. And it's not a responsibility I take lightly. Just my 2 cents.
Well, yeah. I can't argue with it. And I mean, I think you had brought up a good point too, V. You had talked about, what if we made that decision that they have to only be boys and we'll get rid of girls? We have a whole country doing that, a very communist country, although there's definitely some capitalistic aspects to them. China.
Absolutely.
People's Republic of China, communist. They made that decision, and I think it's still in place, that male children only, or the female children are limited, so that there's always more males. That is scary stuff right there, that you can start doing that to somebody. And
let's look at what else they did. They had limited the number of children you were allowed to have until the population of elderly became so burdensome that they started making allotments for multiple children.
It gets into very scary stuff when people start making decisions that God's supposed to make. But
you've already got situations too where people are saying, well, I should be able to choose the color of eyes of my child and the color of their hair, and
We're going to be doing that. There's designer babies. They're basically
exactly. Exactly.
And that's going to get into scary territory.
Hitler would have loved that crowd.
Oh, gosh, they were working for that. Sure, the Aryan race, the pure race.
Hitler would have loved that crowd.
Yes, certainly.
And Margaret Sanger would have been more than pleased with it.
You better believe it.
It just... Ben, I appreciate you calling in. I'm sorry if I railroaded you, buddy, but that's a touchy topic with me.
It's a touchy topic for everyone.
It is.
It's not easy to talk about it, but we're friends, so I hope we can stay friends even.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, always, darling.
Yeah, love you too, hon. Happy New Year.
You too, darling. And that is Ben, and he is a friend of mine, and we've been friends for a while, and I think the world of him. But he also knows I'm, when I feel like that dog won't hunt, that's a bone I'm not letting go of.
Right.
I know he's a bear. I gotta watch out.
Well, and I don't want to stay on the topic too long, V, but like I said, going by this Planned Parenthood report for 2013, 327,653 babies aborted, nearly 60 million aborted since 1973. I just want to put that in perspective, and I know some people may call this a straw man argument or say I'm comparing apples and oranges, but regardless of why it happened, the amount of people killed by just several people in history in the last century. Listen to this. Chairman Mao from China, once again we're talking about China, he had 60 million victims between 1949 and 76. So, boy, he's getting right up there with Planned Parenthood, at least based on the amount of lives. Joseph Stalin, Superman, they called him the Superman over in Russia, who was allies with us during World War II, but certainly didn't share anything in beliefs together. 40 million in a communist regime, victims, 40 million victims. Adolf Hitler comes in at a paltry third, because they're only attributing him to about 30 million victims, primarily Jews, but also homosexuals were among that, and other people that he determined would not be, were not, that they didn't need to have around. Pol Pot in Cambodia back in the 70s, only 1.7. Boy, what a low number, only 1.7. Idi Amin over in Africa and Uganda, 300,000 to 500,000. I mean, holy smokes, folks! This Planned Parenthood numbers are way up there. And like I said, it's not exactly a direct comparison, but just based on the number of lives lost, look at that: 60 million just since 1973 aborted in the United States. We've got to take a break. Ben, thanks for your call. We appreciate it. We will not soon forget it. Your first call of 2015. Folks, we will be back in a couple minutes for the last segment of the show. Stick with us.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
Come on, Harry!
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13, now playing.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Welcome back, everybody. It's WTF, and I am V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. Welcome back to the last segment of the night, folks. Once again, appreciate our first caller of the year, Ben. Boy, that's a heated topic, but, we've got strong thoughts on all sides on this, and of course there's lots of individual things that we can incidents that we can take.
Well, anybody who disagrees with me on that topic is wrong.
So there, just so you know the ground rules, folks.
Just so you know, if you disagree with me on that topic, you're wrong.
So let's take a little bit lighter subject. We got a couple we want to do before the end of the show, folks. And here's an interesting one. A mom out there in New York area, Suffolk County, Southampton town. She was arrested. Now, this is going way back. This is going back to 2009. And what she was doing is she's 54 years old, Nancy Genovese, mother of three, who has lived in East Quogue, maybe? Quogue. I'm not sure how you say that. Lived there for almost 3 decades. She was out shooting at a shooting range, and she had an AR-15 and a shotgun with some rounds of ammunition in her car. She stopped by a National Guard base where there was a helicopter, and she wanted to take a picture. She wasn't trespassing or anything like that, and some cops came out and stuff like that, and they ended up arresting her, and she said she belonged to the Tea Party, which she said, okay, they searched her, the cops searched her and found a legally owned rifle, that's the AR-15 that I was referring to, transporting from a nearby rifle range. She contends the deputy sheriff arrived on the scene later and said to her, "I bet you are one of those Tea Party people." When she said she went to Tea Party rallies, he allegedly said, "You're a real right-winger, aren't you? And you are a teabagger," and then added she'd be arrested for terrorism to make an example of for other right-wingers. Well, guess what? She was taken to jail. She had to post a $50,000 bail, so she spent 4 days in jail. And then the charges were dismissed in 2009, and she said she was subjected to humiliation with strip search. Well, she went after the town and the cops for $70 million. Well, she didn't get $70 million, folks, but she got $1.12 million for getting called a teabagger and being falsely arrested and imprisoned for 4 days. And good, maybe I don't think any cop saying something like that, especially when the rifles were legally owned. They said she had 500 rounds of ammunition. She said she had like 144 rounds. She had just come from a shooting range. But anyway, she just won $1.12 million, which is still a lot of money for 4 nights in jail, although I wouldn't want to get $1 million for going to jail for 4 nights. I can assure you of that. But there's an interesting story on the lighter side of the news a little bit. And then here's the big one. V, we got to talk about this. Some of our people in our chat thread are talking about this too. Well, guess what, folks? We talked about it last week, first show of the year, that California is giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants in their state of California. They are giving driver's licenses. Now, remember, folks, why do you think Clinton fought so hard? I think it was around 1993, early 90s when he first got in for the motor voter law, because then your voter registration is tied to your driver's license. Now, I'm not sure if that's what's happening in California, but nothing would surprise me at this point. So this was a law that Jerry Brown, Moonbeam, signed in 2013, took effect at the start of 2015. Nearly 1.4 illegal immigrants are expected to apply for licenses in California in the next 3 years. So they talked to a 28-year-old illegal immigrant who admitted she had been driving without a license for 6 years.
Illegal immigrant. They're not illegal immigrants. They are invaders. When they come into this country and they choose to come over by defaulting on our border crossings, they're invaders.
Agreed. Or we'll call them aliens as well. Illegal aliens or invaders. Good point. Thanks for correcting me on that. So she said,
I'm sorry.
First of all, she's been driving without a license for 6 years. And then taking her test right after this went into effect, she failed her written exam twice. She said nobody is passing. They can't pass the test. Now, when Nevada allowed illegal immigrants to apply for licenses last year, 71% of illegal invaders in the state reportedly failed the written exam in the first 3 days.
Well, that's okay. They just changed the law and we're going to lower the score requirement to 10.
Can you believe that? And so... Now,
yes, I can believe it. I can believe it. But these fine, upstanding citizens that just want to come here for the promise of a better life and are going to get out there and work hard, even though they cannot read, they cannot speak the language, they cannot do a doggone thing. They came here penniless. They came here with yes, because everybody just jumps up from their state of entitlement and says, you know what? I think I'll go take a minimum wage job because it pays better.
Good point. I mean, the state of California doubling down on stupid, and I mean, I know there's some good people in California, but why? Get out!
Oh yeah, I'm on a
You're
roll
behind the bamboo
today.
curtain over there. Get out! Get out while you still can. So yeah, all these people apparently are failing the driver's test, and it just these stories just show that there are so many people that for years and years and years have been driving. Well, of course, if you come across the border, which is a felony, illegally, then I guess, driving a car isn't a big deal. At that point, what law that you break is a big deal at that point, after you've committed a felony coming here illegally and staying here?
Yeah, I mean, you're riding around in a car that you typically is unregistered and uninsured.
Right. How could you insure the doggone thing?
With no driver's license. Or if it is, it's illegally registered and illegally insured because you own the car, but you don't have a license. How many cases of people, how many people have died at the hands of drunken illegals driving cars that they did not have license, insurance, or registration on? Speaks for itself, but I'm really on a negative roll tonight.
Well, but the story further says that there are 9 other states that offer licenses to immigrants, and California, I'm not sure about the other 9 states, but California says that these licenses are, quote, not acceptable for official federal purposes, end quote, such as boarding an airplane. But still, you can drive all around in the state of California.
And you can vote!
Neat.
And you can vote.
And that's probably the bigger thing. If it's tied around this whole motor voter thing, and they can vote, well, gee, I guess they'd probably want as many as they could to get licenses at this point, and they'll probably facilitate them in any manner possible to make sure that they eventually pass that written part of the exam.
Yeah, we got about 11 minutes left in this segment. Guys, if there's anybody out there from the state of California, please call in and let me know if your driver's license is part of the motor voter automatic registration. Number's 313-462-0068. Again, it is 313-462-0068. If you're from California, I'd like to hear from you tonight.
Oh, definitely. Here's another one. Here's another story. Some guy, 32 years old, an illegal immigrant who lives in Long Beach, said he has lived in the country illegally for 14 years. So once again, they admit it. They don't have any shame in their game.
Now, have they really, or are they just saying that just to get past the 5-year mandate by?
Well, I'm sure. Well, it's always going to be more than 5. They would not ever say less than 5 at this point. Why would they? So this person's a construction worker. Once had his work car impounded after he was caught driving without a license. He had to pay to get the car back and lost a day of wages. So before hitting the road, now listen to this. He always made a point to visit a Facebook page where people post information about police checkpoints to see if there were any expected in his area, meaning out-of-town trips were out of the question. So now his 14-year-old son says, now we can go out of town and we can go to Legoland in San Diego. They're still illegal, of course, but now they'll have a driver's license and more than likely a license to vote, I'm assuming. Like having a voter registration has ever stopped any Democrat or any leftist from voting. I mean,
wait a minute, his car got taken and he only complained about one day. I watched a show called Parking Wars. God, don't go to Philadelphia, dude. Stay in California.
Oh, they're hardcore over there, aren't they?
I mean,
that food on that car too, man. You ain't getting that sucker off real easy.
Man, you go over there. I watched that program one time. Dude probably had a $2,000 car that he ended up paying like $4,000 worth of tickets and fines and fees and court costs and oh my God, just take the car, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, say it. It's lost.
I'll ride the bus.
It'll be a lot cheaper in the long run.
Oh man, I would not go to Philadelphia on a bet because of that show.
Oh, well, there's other reasons I wouldn't go there, but that's definitely probably one of them. City of brotherly love. You guys can have it.
Yeah, they love the boot.
Making money. Making money.
And going broke. Unreal. Oh Lord. But we see it nationwide. I mean, it is crazy. You really want to hear the kicker. If you think that the only problem we've got with invaders is from South America, well, guess what, folks? We are seeing a huge spike from Cuba and Haiti and other Caribbean nations. As a matter of fact, I think there are at least 3,000 more. They call them something else. I'm calling them invaders because they ain't from here. Intercepted since October 1st, the beginning of the new count year, than the previous fiscal year since October.
Oh wow.
It's the highest number of Haitian invaders documented in 5 years and the highest numbers of Cubans recorded in 6. Last year, they chased away at least 5,500 Haitians and 3,900 Cubans and hundreds from the Dominican Republic and other Caribbean countries. More than 1,920 invaders, most of them Cuban and Haitian, have been intercepted so far since the that's intercepted since the October 1st. A lot of them are coming in under smuggling operations, and so it's not just South America. It's the whole world. I read a report last week about the amount of people just walking across our northern border. Nobody's watching it.
Isn't that something?
So, I mean, as I see it currently, America is up for grabs by anybody that walk across, swim across, land on, come near. If you could spit on it, it's yours.
Pretty much. Pretty much true. Hey, and speaking of Cuba, here's a little story. Here's just a short story from the American Thinker, folks, pulling it right out of the American Thinker. If you're not familiar with it, find them on the internet. They get some great little stories here. So RFK Jr. says, we have so much to learn from Cuba. Here's what he says. Despite its poverty, Cuba has managed some impressive accomplishments. Cuba's government boasts the highest literacy rates for its population of any nation in the hemisphere. I don't know where he gets that from, but that's what he says. Cuba's claims that citizens enjoy universal access to health care and more doctors per capita than any other nation in the Americas. and Cuba's doctors reportedly have high-quality medical training. Now, wait a minute. First, there's a couple of things here. RFK Jr., do you realize that his father and uncle tried to kill Castro along with the CIA and maybe the mob? And here he is saying good things about
making
Cuba.
Nice.
Now, the next thing is RFK Jr., is this the one that's the rapist, the drug addict, or the schizophrenic, or all three combined? It's hard to keep them all straight in the Kennedy clan, so I'm really not sure. And then at the end of, and that's my comment, my opinion, folks, and then at the end of the article it says, I wonder if his father is rolling over in his grave. Oh my goodness. Oh, but here's what he says, and I love how these leftists word things. RFK Jr. also admits that Marxism causes inefficiencies, but he blames the embargo for Cuba's woes. Not communism or anything like that, even though it says here in the article that Cubans today suffer under greater poverty today than they did under the Batista dictatorship. Wow.
Oh, well, and, let's blame the embargo. Folks, in case you missed the show where we explain this to you, the embargo, all that means is that when they had the embargo on them, if they wanted things from America, they had to pay up front. That means, just like when you go to the store, you get goods, they get cash. End of story. It is a arm's length transaction. Lifting the embargo, what does that mean? That now means we extend credit to them and financial aid.
But these Kennedys, and wait a minute. How many years has it been now since Teddy has been alcohol-free? Oh, just
I don't think. What, yesterday? I don't know. Isn't his girlfriend still drinking water?
I was going to say, R.I.P., rest in peace, Mary Jo Kopechne. Oh, my goodness. This family, absolutely ridiculous. But here we've got one.
I know Maryland. Maryland thought they were wonderful.
Goodness great.
Before they killed her. Before they killed her.
Well, allegedly, or your opinion, right?
That would be it. That's strictly my opinion.
But seriously.
That's shared by so many.
Folks, his father and uncle tried to kill Castro, good Lord. And here he is defending Cuba. Oh, my word. Kennedy's word, have you gone wrong?
Oh, now you better watch it, folks. Before long, there'll be a Republican Kennedy.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't there already called Schwarzenegger?
Well, no.
Who's now disgraced to just a little teensy-weensy bit?
I think there was one already. I think that he changed his name to John McCain.
Oh, boy, we don't have enough time for John McCain. Holy smokes. That guy has gone full-on senile. Either that or he's just a moron, lame brain. I'm not sure. Maybe a little combination of both, but we've got to talk about him a little bit more, too, but that'll probably have to happen tomorrow. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
But anyway, V, tomorrow we've got our new Congress, and I know we're all as hopeful can be, and wondering just what they'll do to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory and give Hussein Obama everything he wants for his last 2 years of his lame duck instead of figuratively cutting off one of his legs during the lame duck. But notice I said figuratively.
Figuratively, exactly.
Hey, folks, don't forget, right immediately after this show tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, brand new show, The Doctor of Common Sense. And boy, this country could use a little bit more of that, or a lot more of that, actually. He will be coming up right after us here. Less than 7-8 minutes, folks. Brand new show starting tonight. Amazing guy. We had him on the show last week, if you'll remember. Hopefully you were listening to that. He spoke with us for a long time. He's all over YouTube. I mean, this guy's out there. And he's going to be coming to the network, his first show, and he'll be on every Monday following our show. But his first show, inaugural show on CPR Worldwide Media, is immediately following our show tonight. So be sure and stick with this network and hang around for him. I think he'll bring things in a manner that'll also make you laugh, but think, hopefully like our show does as well. We appreciate you folks. All of our listeners are very important to us, and we're just blessed that we can bring this to you 4 nights a week.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you guys make sure to stick around for Mr. E.T. Williams, the Doctor of Common Sense show. He's a remarkable individual for anyone who has been like on the dark side of the moon and never heard of E.T. Williams. Please, by all means, not only tune into his show, but hit the YouTube and type in his name. You find some interesting information there. Great guy, wonderful conservative, true patriot, and just exactly as the name of his show describes, he is the Doctor of Common Sense. Guys, it has been a wonderful first night back in full week ahead of us in the new year, and as always, Jose and I are just extremely appreciative that you choose to spend your evenings with us, but it is time for us to say peace out.
And God bless America, folks. Have a good evening, and we'll see you back tomorrow.
Five